Hey there, welcome to the Championship Mindset Podcast. Happy belated Thanksgiving. Hope you guys had a great time and maybe even set aside some political differences. That would be a miracle in itself in some families, right? So, this show is where mindset meets reality and perception gets a reset. Perception is everything. It's about helping anyone bring mindset to the front of our minds instead of ignoring it. So you can really live with confidence, resilience, mental toughness, purpose, anything that you desire, who you want to be, how you want it to be. Whether you're a coach, parent, athlete, CEO, entrepreneur, a leader, it doesn't matter. As long as you're working to level up yourself, this podcast is for you. And mindset isn't fluff. Granted, it's not taught. So a lot of people mindset is like, what? I don't know. But it's the foundation of how we think, feel, and show up in life. And today's episode is one I'm especially excited about because of the person that we're having on. His name is Tyler. I'm sorry, man. Taylor Bowden. He's someone who proves you don't have to come from perfection to become powerful, to become yourself. He didn't grow up with handshakes and hugs. He grew up in chaos, physical abuse, trauma, survival mode all the time, 24/7. He knows what it's like when your story just it starts rough. But he also knows how to rewrite the ending. Taylor Bowden is a speaker, a coach, and a deep thinker who took his pain and turned it into purpose, from dodging the wrong crowd to dialing into his own mindset. He discovered one life altering truth. It's not the circumstances, it's the perception. All right. And trust me, he's not dropping quotes from Instagram. He lived it, questioned it, wrestled it to the ground, and came out stronger on the other side. So, Tyler, happy belated Thanksgiving, man. We've had some good conversations. How are you today?
I'm doing great. So I wanted to start this off with explaining there should be no expectations of perfection. So we have to completely take that out of our thoughts and instead focus on progression. However, be patient because we have probably made millions or billions of mistakes in the past, and there will be millions and billions to come. So we have to understand that this is a part of life. So explain more about how you describe perception, because I'm sure we're on the same point of view. And I kind of want to drift this conversation into that for the main topic.
Sure. Well, I mean, perception. So basically, the mind, with our senses, through our senses, we recognize experiences, we hear, feel, see things, right? Smell. And that goes through a filter in our mind. And this is with everybody's brain. This isn't like you process different, you process information completely different than me, but your experiences and how that's filtered based on what you've learned, been through, experienced it, generalizes it in categories. And the unconscious mind then drives everything, remembers everything, builds habits, patterns, beliefs. Okay. And then out of that comes our perception when all of that stuff is established. So it's starting, that conditioning starts even inside the womb because we can hear and sense things. Then we come out, all of the external environment, starting with our parents, and then the outside world is conditioning us through those experiences and our senses. That then goes through that process, and then we perceive things a certain way. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. So I kind of was thinking about consciousness being the things that creates neurons or develop them, while the subconscious is the thing that maintains them and operates them. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a simple way to break it down is the unconscious is the software that runs us. You don't have to think about breathing, pumping your heart, pumping blood, your lungs working, eyes blinking. We don't even have to do anything. the unconscious has all that programming. Okay. So the unconscious mind really runs everything that we do, including our perception. But here's the thing. This is the beautiful part. Anything learned can be unlearned. Anything. So when we have bad habits, bad thoughts, bad behaviors, all of these things can be undone and relearned. We just have to feed it so the mind receives it. And the more we feed what we want to feel like, who we want to be, who we know we are, what we want our life to be, we feed it. Repetition is the mother of learning for the unconscious, for anything. And then all of a sudden that starts happening. And you leave those other things behind. And with hypnosis and NLP, I help people do that quickly, as opposed to explaining this stuff and people start using their logical thinking, going, well, how does that work? I don't understand it. I don't know if I believe that. They just have to want something like, I'm so sick and tired of smoking. I'm so sick and tired of having rage. I'm so sick of tired of whatever it is. It can be changed immediately, fast, and permanent by using language and different trainings that I'm trained in to help the unconscious mind do that. And then you build those habits, those new ones. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So I had
your question.
Go ahead.
Did that answer your question?
It did.
Sometimes I go on rants and I forget what the question even was.
Hey, that makes at least two of us all the time. So,
right?
No worries. That's
so
just
for you. I mean, you've been open about coming from a tough, even traumatic background. So, I mean, with priming people's mind about what we were just talking about, can you take us back and share a bit about what life was like growing up and how that shaped your view of the world early on?
Yeah, so before I go into the difficult moments, I want to start off with how powerful it is to be positive. And the reason why I say this is because all those difficulties have led to this moment. And out of the whole entire story, this moment of positivity will outweigh any of that chaos. And so I wanted the listeners to understand that before I go into the story. So anyways, I grew up in a Christian household. We were all Mormons at the time, and my dad decided to be extremely physically abusive. And there was a time in third grade, it was Christmas break. I got in an argument. I run back into my room. I remember vivid details about this. My dad is sitting on my stomach and he's hitting me. I'm not sure if it was hand or fist or whatever. And I remember how the room was set up. I remember the placement in the room, where I was, all the details behind and within it.
Yeah.
So he leaves and I'm crying. I think I was crying more for the fact that I felt hated and unaccepted.
And you probably felt scared and unsafe.
I definitely did.
Yeah. And maybe even a little mad because it's your father, right?
Yeah, all natural emotions. Emotions are always natural. So I'm crying and my mom walks in. She's like, you can come out now. And so I go into the kitchen and I see my grandma's face drop open. And so I was directed to go look in the mirror. And that's when I found out my whole entire face was black or purple and red. And then so I returned to the second semester of third grade.
Yeah.
And I had to tell everybody in my class that it was my fault because we didn't want CPS involved. So anyways, that's kind of a
Yeah.
story, and I only bring up stories because they're my building block. I don't have like a part of me that says, oh, that sucks, I'm gonna do this and it justifies that. No, not at all. I don't even really like explaining.
I don't think, based on how you're even saying it, I don't think there's anybody would think that. I mean, this is, you're driven to share this information now to help people really identify and understand how this stuff happens, but it doesn't have to define you, right? And we'll get to all that stuff, but people need to hear these real tough moments. I've had them too. Same things, not identical. We all have our own experiences, but talking through this and being real about it is the most important thing. And I appreciate that very much from you, man, because people need to hear this stuff. So go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. And I know everything happens for a reason. So that was what happened to me in 3rd grade. To fast forward, my mom and my dad got a divorce, and I started hanging out with the wrong people. I'm sure you know exactly what that feels like.
Yeah, and I want you to, I want anyone listening or hearing this to know, to notice the layers in what Taylor is saying, because each one of them has different emotions and causes issues and trauma and, so go ahead, man.
So, yeah, some of the people I was hanging out with would be one of my greatest distractions.
Mm-hmm.
Life has a lot of those.
Nonstop.
Yup. And so I'm sure we're all facing those in our own experience and our own perspective.
Right.
So after that, I started down a road where happiness was absent. Didn't even know what that felt like.
Right. I can relate.
Consumed with doubt.
Can relate.
Now, so how would you explain doubts in perspective?
Uncertainty. No
Would it
clarity.
be the scariest thing?
What's that?
Wouldn't uncertainty be one of the scariest things?
In today's world, for me, where I've come now, no. But back then, yes, without knowing and understanding from the experiences. Uncertainty causes anxiety for most people. But here's what people need to understand about that. We're trained for that response. We're trained to react. We're not trained how to have balance, right? So when we go through these traumatic experiences, it's just about what's going to come out after that. So uncertainty at a young age uncertainty literally can also be called unsafe in most kids' minds.
Yeah. Yup. And so to kind of piggyback on that, what we put in is what we get out. Everything we put in is typically conscious behavior and conscious decision. But then after it's planted in our brain, we don't need consciousness to think about it. It just happens natural because that's exactly what we put inside of our brain. So this is based on programming.
Right. And consciousness can also alternate the word with awareness. Awareness is consciousness. What do you know? Okay. What are you aware of? That's consciousness.
Yeah, 100%. So that was the darkest time of my life. It was after the abuse and after it was settling in and the trauma built up, and I felt out of place, like nobody really appreciated me or loved me, but this was my own thoughts overthinking.
And like you didn't belong anywhere.
Exactly.
I've felt that most of my life. And
exactly.
you're
So
a young guy yet.
yeah, I
Very
think I am quite a bit behind.
not behind. You're right where you need to be. Just in age, you're different than me. I'm 56. What do you, I think you said you were like 28, right? You're 28.
I am. I am.
So it's good for people to hear this from a younger person as well, because you realize that earlier than most. So, yeah, I mean, thank you for being real and honest with that stuff. And
You know,
it's
sometimes your most difficult moments are actually your assets. They teach you and build you into something that you would have never imagined otherwise.
right, for sure. Uh, I've learned one major thing, many major things, but one is all of those things that happened. I came from a place they happened to me to a place where I knew certainty that they happened for me. And it's powerful because so many people carry pain and don't know how to talk about this stuff. And just hearing your story, stuff from me, gives them permission to face theirs.
We'll all face them.
One way or another, right?
Nope. No avoiding that.
Right. And you said something powerful earlier than we spoke earlier
So,
about. Yeah, go ahead.
so now all of this is in my past. And the way I define past is it's something that I have learned from, but it shouldn't be able to define me. However, I'm not perfect, and sometimes things get in my brain because I'm overthinking. I think we all overthink at times. Wouldn't you think?
Everybody overthinks. Again, it's a conditioned response
Yep.
to the environments, right? Even in school, even with our parents, with everything. And the beauty of it is, and you said it before, it's not, we talked about how it's not the circumstances, it's our perception of it. And when did that realization hit you? The mindset part, the perception part, where like things broke free, where you could look back at the past and be like, this doesn't define me.
Yeah, so if you saw me 10 years ago or so, like 12 years ago, and you saw me now and had the interpretation of these being two entirely different people.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of compare them, but if there was no idea of those two people were the same person, you would have had no idea. And so the reason why I bring this up is if I'm at my lowest moments in that scenario and I am at my highest moment right now and I'm continuing the momentum and inclining where possibilities are opening up like I would have never anticipated. If I am doing that, I've experienced both of these. And wherever you are in the middle, you can become just like I am in a unique and special way, probably more than I am, and incline from there. We're all valuable. And so it doesn't mean when you're at rock bottom, it's over. No,
Right.
Keep fighting.
And not only are we all valuable, we all have a purpose. That's what we're here for. So I'm reading a book right now, Man in Search of Meaning. Viktor Frankl, a Jewish psychiatrist that lived through Auschwitz. He was a prisoner. And his description of the experience watching people go to the gas chambers, watching husbands watch their daughter, child, their wife go and be gassed, and live through the experience thinking every day they were never going to survive this. And he did. And he explains how everything that is good is within each one of us, no matter what. And in those darkest moments, the mind, with no hope, turned inward on its own and helped people see and appreciate and value and find their purpose when they just thought they were going to be killed. It's an amazing book. You should read it if you haven't. It changes perception, where you look at your own scenario and go, gosh, you imagine going through that. It's powerful.
Yeah. Peace is a decision. Now, the circumstances may not always be, but you can always choose happiness and peace. Going back to perspective, we can perceive, well, this happened against me. Today sucked because of X, Y, and Z, or this ruined my week for X, Y, and Z, or yeah, today was a little difficult, but I saw X, Y, and Z to be very valuable, and I'm glad that I experienced that. Or, yeah, well, I was able to smile, so I am successful. And so we have to shift our perspective.
That's the breakthrough that so many people are searching for. Any clients, my family, my wife's probably tired of hearing me say it. Look for the positive. There's at least one in every negative. Challenges are for us to make us stronger, to make us a sharper tool for our purpose, right? These are things I learned. These are not because I used to think it was all happening to me. Why is this happening? Instead of asking, why is it happening? I would encourage people to say, what is this challenge or negative trying to teach me? And then once you start realizing and answers start coming, now you're starting to shift that perspective in a way that will support you instead of hurt you. So what for you, what role did the mindset, when you went from fear and confusion to clarity and growth, what role did the mindset and your self-awareness play in your transformation? Was there was there just like one clicking point or turning point where things just began to truly shift for you that you can pinpoint?
Yeah, so all growth is not linear. There will be these spikes up and down, kind of like a stock chart. There's no such thing as just boom of where you're at to boom where you imagine yourself to be. So mindset is just that way. And a change of desire is just like that too. So you're not going to automatically change your desire and have this complete path to that. But I realized that the way I was living life, it was meaningless. There was no purpose behind it. So I wanted to figure out what purpose was. Then, so I progressed and was trying to find what purpose was. Then I repeat my patterns and habits because humans are creatures of habits. And so that was my downrise. And then up and down. But eventually I started taking more steps forward than I was taking back.
Sure. And that changes internally how you feel, right?
100%. 100%.
With each and every client that I have, I mean, the mind is so powerful. We can, like we were talking earlier, what you feed it is what it will do for us. That's its job. Okay. So I help people design a control panel in their mind where if they need calm button, or a lever, dial down the calm, dial up the confidence. I learn rapidly, focus. Whatever you want, you can start to build this in your mind with visualization. And here's another thing, really cool thing that people don't think about or are taught. When you imagine yourself feeling great, see it, see what's going on, float into it like you're there. and then come back and bring all that with you, here's the key. Now do it again, but you're remembering what that's like. So it's now in your past, but it's in your future. And the mind doesn't know the difference. And now that starts shifting that feeling inside, and everything changes rapidly. People don't need to understand it. It's the power of the mind in understanding how to feed it for rapid transformation. It's very cool. Everything starts to change immediately. Your story even proves it without any tools like that, right?
It does. It does.
I just do what I do because it makes it faster for people. They don't have to struggle through it. But there is a gift in that struggle because it's for us.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
No matter where they start, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So for you, faith, when we talked, has also been a big part of your journey. How did your relationship with God or higher power influence your healing, your purpose, and the way that you live now?
Yeah, so I told you all about my base religion and how at one moment we were all part of it.
Yeah.
Well, in this darkest time, I had no belief in God. Didn't believe him. Had no idea really who he was. I've heard the name. I went to Sunday school about him many, many years ago.
Sure.
But to me at that point, it was just a name. I was probably caught up in an idea most of us have. Well, if I'm experiencing all these bad things and God is good and Christ is good and the Holy Spirit is good, how am I feeling this? Why does God and Christ not just take this entire situation out of my life?
Right.
That seems to be a common idea, but I'm going to flop that on its head. He actually gave us the opportunity to experience life, to create opportunities out of difficulties. He's given us the faith, or has granted us the ability to have faith, so we can not just believe in him, but believe that we are connecting with our potential. So now I believe in God and Christ, all heart, mind, and soul to this day. I will never see that changing. So yeah, faith played a big factor, because if I had no idea of what God and Christ can do or would do, I would be in that dark place feeling like I was alone. Don't know exactly how to describe my spiritual experiences, but that was intervention, where I was literally, well, not literally, but I felt like I was being grabbed out of my situation and being directed to something that has light.
Yeah, something deeper, guidance that maybe you don't understand, but you feel something different. And then all of a sudden think something different. Can't always explain, but I see a lot of people, family members as well, that are like, God did this to me. Why would God do this to me? That's completely away from faith. When we allow faith and we allow the uncertainty where we don't want or need to control it, things happen on their own. It's just, I can't explain it really. I mean, it's happened I should be dead a million times over, but I'm not. God had a purpose and a plan for me to go through all of those things in my path to shape me who I am today. And there came a time where all of a sudden, bam, wow, knowing, now it's not uncertainty anymore. I feel it, I know it. Do I understand it? No, but I don't have to. I need to trust, believe it, and allow it to just continuing directing me through faith, right? It's something we can't always explain, but it makes all the difference in the world when you're rebuilding yourself. All of that made me sharper, stronger, the person I am today. Same for you. I know we've had many conversations already.
Believing in God and understanding Him are two entirely different things.
Very much so. Totally agree. So now for you, I know you said something that I didn't expect you to say. You're like, I love my father, right? I love my father. I'm not mad at him. I'm not, and same for me. I'm not mad for what happened when I grew up. I understand. That's how my parents were raised or whatever. They were doing the best. Did they make big mistakes? Sure. But I don't hold that against them. I love them, all of that stuff. And you said it, but to me, and I was like, wow, he beat you up that bad, and you're able to come to a place where you said that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
For the longest time, I was angry.
Mm-hmm.
I had no anticipation of forgiving, justifying anything I did because of my anger.
Yeah.
It was a very unfortunate thing to think because actually, this is a very good point, and I haven't explained it this way until now, but I think it all the time, and this is very relevant to our conversation. The worst thing a mind can have is conflict, or at least top worst things that can happen. Because when our brain starts to have conflict, we have all this opposition going against each thought. So you think one thought, and there's so many different associations battling that. And that's where our brains become stressed, confused, or whatever the case. It's just going to drag us down.
React.
Triggered. React. Yep. Exactly. And that's why we always act in anger. Is because of all the conflict. If there was no conflict to anger, we would always be angry.
Well, and anger is a natural emotion. There's reason for anger.
There is. And you have to understand it too. We have to anticipate being angry, but not letting it control us. Right. Because yes, it's natural, but when it goes to the point where it's controlling us, it's not as natural.
Do you ever remember learning anything like this in school?
No.
On purpose. I swear it's on purpose. Anyhow, sorry. Sometimes I digress.
That's okay. It was an honest answer, and I get the meaning behind it. So now that was something I realized is conflict destroys opportunities. Yes, understand emotions, but don't let that take control of you. Reason with it. And
right. It cuts off, right? The awareness of opportunity, the consciousness of opportunity. And here's a big point. It's not just opportunity. There's unlimited opportunities and possibilities until we shut it off based on an emotion.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. I'm actually writing a book that will either be called The Spiritual Arts of Understanding or What Words May Not Explain. I'm not 100% sure at this moment. But I was writing in one of the chapters.
Or here's another one. Words mean everything, but maybe we don't understand. I don't know.
That's actually a really good one. That's a good one for sure. That might be a book you have to write.
People keep telling me I got to write a book, but I'm like, it doesn't feel right right now.
Ponder about it. You might be able to write a fantastic book.
Well, there's a lot of people that want me to write a book just about my story. There's a lot you don't know. But
that's all part of life.
Right.
So in this chapter of the power of understanding decisions, there is a part that says that most of our possibilities, or maybe even all of our possibilities, have a form of logic. For example, if I wanted to go to school to be a lawyer, that has a logic because of the result and because of the situation. So maybe the situation was I need better income, and maybe the situation was my family was lawyers, or whatever the case. This is just a made up scenario in this case. But there's that form of logic. Then the result would be higher education, another form of logic, better pay, another form of logic. So there's just many forms of logic, but how we choose our possibilities are typically emotional.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would completely agree. For sure.
So if we have our base place, so for example, the person today, or I can use myself. For me today, I have several different options, or actually I have many options, but there are several options that are in point of view. And most of them take me to the same destination in different ways. Whatever one I decide is a emotional intelligence or interpretation saying this is the one that is designed for me the most. Perhaps it is.
Perhaps it isn't.
Perhaps it isn't. And so that's how I view logic.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, how most people view logic. What we tend to forget about is we have to not feel or think that we actually are in control or decide all of it. We can only control certain things. And I encourage people to think about that and focus on and determine, narrow down, what can I control? What can't I? Don't worry about what you can't. Worry about what you can control. Be aware of your emotional, be aware of the circumstances. Don't let them define you, move through them. You can control that through mindset, through awareness, through adjusting your mental, emotional states. So, yeah, all good stuff, man. So we got to get going now. It goes by quick, right? If you could share one piece of advice for parents, anybody, kids, anybody, what would that be? That are people that are struggling with their life, their mindset, or identity.
Yeah, so I am in the process of being a public speaker to speak specifically for this. I have this meeting with somebody next week to go speak to a mental illness event or whatever. And I want to go in there and share the same message that I'm about to share right now.
Cool.
Sometimes we think that we have no value in life because we're facing all these difficult moments and they weigh us down and it feels like a burden that we don't think we can survive.
Right.
But maybe in that case, when there seems to be nothing good in your life, you're looking at the wrong place. So instead of interpreting the bad, find even one thing that makes you smile. And if it goes away the next day, then look for two more. And so it's not about expecting perfection. It's not about snapping your finger and then all of a sudden you are in the spots you desire to be. Sometimes we anticipate that. So my message is to never focus on perfection, to expect mistakes, to expect difficult moments and natural emotions like anger and sorrow. Yeah. But when it seems hard, it doesn't mean your problems will be taken away. However, there is meaning in your life. You are as valuable as anybody else. You are even as valuable as the richest person on this planet. God did not create anybody unequal. We are all created with purpose, and that purpose is more important than any other purpose because you're living the life you are in for a thing that nobody else can go through.
Yep.
And that's my message.
All right, man. Thank you, Taylor. That was real. It was raw. Your story, your honesty, all of it. Your strength. I mean, it all matters. and I wish you the best on what you're about to continue to do. And if people want to reach out to you, connect, follow you, whatever, where can they find you?
Yeah, so like I said, I am in the process of being a public speaker. So if you know any events that I can speak at, then feel free to follow me on LinkedIn, Taylor Bowden. Follow me on my social media. And actually, I may consider this a spam if you reach out through my phone number. So I'll take the risk anyways. Write down my number if that's something you would like to learn more about. Number is 915-449-6869. And if I anticipate it's a spam, you will not be answered. So try to make it like relevant to this topic.
Yeah, yeah. And people can connect with me to connect to you too, if they need my help, whatever the case is.
Yes.
To everyone watching, listening, thank you for your time and listening and being here. Share it with somebody that may get one thing out of it. That's all we hope for. Okay. And replays will be available shortly after on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Facebook Championship Mindset, YouTube Championship -1, Championship Mindset -1. And then audios will be available for Apple, Spotify, and 9 other platforms in 24 to 48 hours. And if you're an athlete, a friend, family member, doesn't matter. If you're tired of letting the past define you, if you're ready to build confidence, resilience, mental clarity, emotional strength, go to freedomandhealing.com. Schedule a discovery call and we'll chat through it. No pressure. I'll show you direction. We'll create an individualized plan that's easy, fast results. And I'll walk you through my iGoat mental method. Okay. And until next time, perception is everything. Don't forget that. Keep your awareness high. Awareness is consciousness. Elevate your mindset. Elevate your game. Elevate your life. See you soon.